Hey guys, it's Libby. Let's take a look at the books I bought in June. So as you may have surmised from the thumbnail, I bought a lot of books. And that is because, I have a good reason, I took a trip to Boulder and Denver, Colorado, and they have different bookstores to where I live in Virginia, and so you have to buy books at the different bookstores, obviously. And so this has resulted in me buying 13 books this month. So the first batch came from Red Letter Books, which is off the Pearl Street Mall in Boulder, and they are 4 of the series of Unfortunate Events books. I have number 2, The Reptile Room, number 5, Austere Academy, number 7, Vile Village, and number 11, Grim Grotto. I've already read these books, but I got them in the ebook format, and I decided that I wanted to have physical copies for my eventual reread, so I'm sort of collecting them wherever I can find them on the cheap. I also got 2 other Lemony Snicket books at a used bookstore in Denver. I don't remember which one it was, I apologize. So this is Carnivorous Carnival, Book 9, and Slippery Slope, Book 10, and really every used bookstore seems to have a fair number of Lemony Snicket books, so if you're interested in this series, I would recommend checking them out, because they're everywhere. And it's just a question of finding nice copies, and I want the hardcovers. There are paperbacks, but I wanted the hardcovers, and they probably won't have a complete set, so you have to patchwork together from different bookstores your Lemony Snicket collection. Then I went to the Boulder Bookstore, I think that's what it's called. It's right on Pearl Street if you are visiting. And the first book I got there was A Contract with God by Will Eisner, which I then immediately read on the vacation. It's a graphic novel, or it's actually a series of graphic short stories about life in tenements in New York in the 1930s, and it's very depressing. So I'll tell you more about that in my wrap-up. I also got Mirror Mirror by Gregory Maguire. I've actually already read this, and I used to own this, but when I was doing an unhaul at some point, I decided that I didn't want it anymore. But I did keep another Gregory Maguire's books, Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister, which I reread earlier this year, and I liked it a lot better on the reread. I think I just wasn't old enough the first time I read these. So I rebought this, and we'll hopefully get around to it soon. This is a retelling of the Snow White story set in Italy in the early mid-Renaissance, so like the Borgia family is directly involved with the story, and hopefully I will like it. And then I found a $7 copy of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I read the ebook of this, but it's so lovely that I want a physical copy. I just want to give Susanna Clark more money. What can I say? And this book, I think, really benefits from being read in the paper format as opposed to the ebook format, because there are a lot of footnotes. And when I read it on Kindle, like, the footnotes were at the end, so I'd have to like click the link to the footnote, go read the footnote, and then click to go back to the page I was on, and that was no fun. And it means I didn't read a lot of the footnotes. But here, of course, when I'm trying to look for one, I won't be able to find any. Yes, here the footnotes are actual footnotes as opposed to just endnotes, and they are down at the bottom of the page where you can easily reference them. And then I went to another bookshop in Denver whose name I forgot, and I got I Shall Wear Midnight by Terry Pratchett. This is the next for me in terms of ownership in the Tiffany Aching sub-series of the Discworld series, and I'm reading all of the Discworld books, so gonna need this. I think this book, I can't tell you what this is about. A, because I've only read the first 2 Tiffany Aching books, and B, because probably spoilers. And then I came home to Virginia, and I have a used bookstore within walking distance of my house, so I didn't want it to get jealous that I was buying all of these books at other foreign bookstores, so I had to go buy some stuff at my local bookstore, and I got the His Dark Materials series by Philip Pullman. They include The Golden Compass, the Subtle Knife, and the Amber Spyglass. And I'm really glad that I was able to get these used, and because my family has so much store credit at that used bookstore, they were actually free. Because I'm not totally sure that I'm going to like this one, but I do feel that it's important for me to read it because I think Philip Pullman really wrote this series in response to like Chronicles of Narnia and the Ender's Game universe books by Orson Scott Card, because those are both intellectual but for children big sci-fi fantasy series from a Christian perspective. C.S. Lewis is sort of conventional evangelical, I think. I don't know anything about C.S. Lewis. And then Orson Scott Card is, of course, a Mormon. Philip Pullman, while he may not actually be an atheist, is certainly not a fan of organized religion, and neither am I. So I felt it was my duty to read his fantasy series that is both intellectual and for children and is secular. And interesting thing that I noticed about the story behind these books, I think. So the Golden Compass is probably a little hard to see, but this one's kind of beat up. The corners on the back of the cover are missing. Subtle Knife has like a couple little bits of scuffing, but it looks to be pretty okay. And then Amber Spyglass is pristine. So I think whoever used to own this set did not quite get through it. I don't know if that is good news or bad news for me. But yeah, that's all I have for you today, and I will see you with another video very soon. Bye bye!